Welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast, hosted by Yola Bastos and created by Women Play, which empowers financial freedom for women worldwide. Entrepreneur Talks is a podcast that covers conversations with startups, founders, innovators, and thought leaders from around the world who are disrupting the status quo, expanding their businesses, and bringing innovative ideas to life. Yola's conversational tone is focused on the tough questions about journey and details, the ways of thinking and acting that have led these entrepreneurs to success. Entrepreneurship, leadership, mental health, funding, finances, and other issues are covered on our podcast. Subscribe now to our podcast by joining on Spotify. You can write on your web right now www.anchor.fm/entrepreneur talks/subscribe. Join our podcast and enjoy this powerful conversation. Women Flix empowers financial freedom for women worldwide. And hello everyone, and welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast, season 14, episode 9, if I'm not wrong. I always have something that can be right or wrong, right? So thank you so much for your presence. And for today, the message, the package, the story, the person, the special guest that I have with me today is all about printing. And his name is Paul Buren. I think it's Buren or Baron. But we will find out very soon when I introduce Paul to the community. So our topic is revolutionizing the printing industry. Today, I believe I'm going to learn a little bit more about the printing industry and, of course, inspire each other to do whatever we want, right? So let's welcome Paul and let's start. Hello, Paul. Did I mention your name right?
Yola, that's fine. As long as you invite me, you can't be wrong. It's Paul Barron. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you and your community. I appreciated the introduction that your audience can benefit by learning something about the printing industry, but I also want to preface anything that we're going to talk about with the more general fact of entrepreneurship and finding financial independence and using printing, in our case, the wall printer, which is my current company. This is really just a vehicle to an end, and that end being financial freedom, the ability to take ownership of a business that might inspire you and inspire others. The wall printer is a vertical printing machine that prints digital art onto walls, indoors, outdoors. If your audience has the benefit of video and can see the wall print behind me in my office here, that's a wall print 5 feet by 8 feet printed on concrete. My office staff wasn't nice enough to give me a window in my office, so I had to paint one. And so that's what that represents. But it really represents entrepreneurship, the ability for people to find a product, a service, a passion that will not only fulfill their lives, but also the lives of others. We've been in business 3 years. We've put 120 new businesses in place in their communities in Canada, the United States, South America, Central America, the Caribbean. These are all the markets we serve here from Wilmington, North Carolina. And basically, it's really designed just to put people in the business of delivering wall art onto any walls, indoors or outdoors.
Fantastic. Wow, what an introduction. That's amazing. Thank you, Paul. And welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. This is all amazing. Paul, I want to ask you. I was just while you were talking, I could hear an echo. Can you search, because everything was good before we start, but now there is an echo going on. Can you talk a little bit with me and see
How is
if it
that? Is that any
continued?
better?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds like it's better. But thank you so much. And now let's start. I want to ask you if you can describe yourself in 3 words.
uh, Passionate, energetic,
Right.
and empathetic.
Energetic, empathetic. Empathetic. Awesome. So let's start from one. Uh energetic. Why energetic?
Well, so I'm 71 years old. I know I
Oh,
only know look 20 years old, but I'm 70 years old. I've had about 2 dozen businesses that I've either founded, worked for, grown, exited, um, succeeded, failed. Although I call those learning experiences,
learn.
but all along the path, I found the energy to get up when you fall down, or just to climb the stairs when things are going well, and
Very
and
important.
uh, and you need the energy to get through the day, and to do podcasts like this.
With some situations, right? Technical issues and so on. We need to carry on and have energy. That's right. God, great stuff. Can you hear me on time, or you hearing me later?
I'm hearing you, but I'm also hearing myself as an echo because
Ah,
we're going through your microphone as well as mine. But as long as you can hear me all right and your audience can hear me only once, not twice, we're okay.
yes, we are only listening you once. And once again, thank you so much for joining me. And I would like you to tell us, what exactly do you do nowadays? You just mentioned that you open, you reopen, you failed, you etc. So many dozen of businesses. But right now, at your 70s, what exactly
Well,
Paul Back
so
does?
most of my career, at least the last 3 to 4 decades of it, after founding various businesses, I've had a couple of sporting goods stores, I had a restaurant, I developed software for particular
Right,
applications, and but ultimately, I found a space where I was representing foreign companies, and by foreign, because your audience could be anywhere in the world, I mean foreign to the United States. Companies that wanted to deliver a service or a product and find their high value audiences here in the United States. And if they were able to have an innovative product, I became the U.S. face. I became the U.S. face on those companies, and I would help them identify customers, partners, strategic relationships, help them acquire revenue, and basically
right,
achieve their business goals.
right.
I did this with a self-service dog wash from Australia, 12 years for a Russian technology company, a Chinese
Oh, wow.
headband headphone, an innovative baby bottle from Austria, and a communications product from Israel. And I've done very well for myself and my family financially, but I always wanted to own the products. Some of these companies I had equity in, some of them I was a hired gun and just working on a sales
Ah,
commission. So I retired about 5 years ago, as I had retired periodically throughout the last 50 years. But I was set on not doing anything, at least not working for anybody, about 5 years ago. And then once again, I was approached by a company who had this vertical printing machine. Now, your audience and
vertical
a
vertical
vertical printing
printing
machine, and
machine.
I'll explain that in a moment. So they approached me with a vertical printing machine, which I had never seen or heard about before. I think of myself as a fairly normal consumer. Some people might argue the point of normal where I'm concerned, but the fact that I was being presented with a product that I had never seen or heard about before, I found fascinating, and I wanted to learn more about it. Well, this German company, which had a very high quality product, wanted me once again to be their face and introduce that product to the US audience and engage businesses, startups, painters, artists, muralists, all sorts of businesses that could benefit by adding art onto walls. A vertical printing machine is a machine that will act like your desktop printer on steroids. It prints on any wall, indoors, outdoors, brick, wallboard, vinyl, glass, metal, tile. It doesn't matter what the surface is, indoors or outdoors. So I was fascinated by the product. They wanted me to be a hired gun, a commission salesperson. I don't do that anymore. And so the conversations broke down. But when I stopped communicating with them after a couple of Zoom calls like this, and we could not make the deal that I wanted to make, which was to actually own the company, then the conversations broke down. But I decided to do my homework and say, well, who else is doing this? And of course, that's the energy and the curiosity that I have. And so I found that there were literally only a handful of companies, 5 companies in the world that made these types of machines, none of which were in North America or South America. There was the German company, there were 2 Chinese companies, an Australian company, and an Indian company. And they all had some features, benefits, factors that differentiated one from the other. But I found the whole technology totally fascinating. I don't know anything about printing. I don't know anything about art. But I like the machine and I like the technology. And I also saw that this was a market that there aren't that many ways to put art on walls. You buy a picture, you hire an artist, you put a vinyl sticker or wallpaper up. I mean, how many ways are there to put art on walls? So I called to my wife, and when I'm in my home office, and I asked her to come and take a look at this. When she hears me say those words, come take a look at this, rather than do it, she cuts up my credit cards and hides the bank account from me because she thinks that here we go again, Paul's going to invest in something nuts. So this time, though, I got her to take a look. She liked it, and she said, if you think you can do it, go and do your homework and have fun. So, so I talked to all the companies, and the originator of the technology was a Chinese company, about 15 years in business. All their customers, about 500 of them, which was 10 times the customer base of any of those other 4 companies. It was all confined to Southeast Asia, a little bit in the Middle East, a little bit in Europe. But because these machines are commercial printing machines, our machine cost about $30,000. That German machine was about $70,000. And no disrespect to you or anybody in your audience who may have German heritage, I drive a BMW. I cook with Henkel knives. I value a well-engineered product. But just because something says made in Germany doesn't mean it should be charging twice the amount of something of comparable value. And that was the case here. I was able to identify a customer or a manufacturer in China that made a perfect product that actually had more features that I thought were beneficial to building a customer market And so we started the courtship, and we spent a year negotiating and learning about one another. And finally, I made a large investment and I bought the product. I co-own 3 patents on the product, which, if anybody in your audience can appreciate, it's very unusual for an American company to co-own patents with a Chinese manufacturer. And the reason I say this
Wow.
is not to pat myself on the back, but it speaks to the relationship we were forming. That I found that there were some features that I wanted this product to have to be able to reach the audience and support the people I wanted to make successful if they were going to buy this machine and start a local wall printing business. And so
This is
we
very
moved
good.
forward. And now I have a business after that started in 2020. And 3 years later, not even, we have over 120 customers these are people that we put into business in their communities. We are not a franchise. We don't reach into people's pockets and ask them for royalties and take your revenue. We don't
Right.
create your website. We don't create your marketing for you. We don't teach you how to use Facebook. But we support our customers, and we help them with videos and images and training and support. We now manufacture our own inks here in the United States. I have 2 factories in Kansas and in Florida that manufacture inks to our specifications. And we train our customers. We provide warranty, support, and we put over
Right.
120 people into business in their own communities where they own the rights to be the only person delivering wall printing services to their communities.
That's amazing,
I'll take a
Paul.
breath.
Wow. Yes. Have a drink. This is amazing because you, by one idea, some a deal that you were about to open or to go into with the Germans, you decide to start to learn about the specific project and said, why
Well,
not? And you
everybody,
started.
Yola, everybody should do their homework. I was no
Yeah.
different.
Very
My 120 customers, I have a call like this with all of them because they see a Facebook ad or they see a picture of the video. If anybody in your audience finds anything I'm saying interesting and they want to go to our website, thewallprinter.com,
Yes.
it'll only take 15 to 30 seconds to see a video of the machine working to get it and to see what it
Yes.
does. So I did my homework and I wanted to find out the difference between these different machines that existed. And besides the support that we are set up to give people in the training, I still want people to learn about the options they have. If somebody thinks that they can survive with a $10,000 machine, that I have all the confidence in the world that it will break down in 30 days and they won't have the support and the parts needed to actually operate a business day in and day out, they're welcome to do
Mhm.
that. And I'll give them all the information they need. If they want to spend
Right.
$70,000 on a German product because they think made in Germany means something that's worth an extra $40,000, they can do that too. But then they'll find out that with that printer, they can't print on glass and they can't print on a dark wall because ours is the only printer in the world that prints with white ink behind the image that lets colors pop out on glass or dark surfaces. And that I learned
Right.
from somebody who had no experience in printing, that was something very important to be able to deliver
Yes.
quality images to people who might have dark walls or glass.
Yes. And by the way, I love that picture behind you, which is done with your machine, I
It
presume.
is. It's
And
5 feet by 8 feet, 40 square feet. That took my machine 2 hours to print, and it has $20 worth of ink in it.
$20
Yes,
only. I thought
somebody who's in this business would charge no less than $20 a square foot to bring the machine, to set it up, to do the printing. So something like that would cost the customer, one of our customers, it would cost the end user about $800 for something like this. But it would take an artist 2 days to print something like this, and they would not get the kind of clarity that you can get from this.
Yeah.
And this is on a concrete wall, so you can see that the wall does not have to be smooth. You can have a grout and spaces, and it'll still be a nice, beautiful image.
It is beautiful. Look, sometimes I think you are there on this amazing forest.
Well, that's the impression we like our quality of print to deliver.
Right. That's really beautiful. And so, but I'm here on the other side of the world. I'm sure that we have this kind of companies here because exactly last week I was passing by one of the roads close my house, and I saw two guys there. I don't know if they had machines or not, but they were paint. I'm not sure if they painted or it's just like this, a printer.
Sure.
Because one day was black and white, next day was color, but was a podcast. Some guys is a huge thing on the wall, and I'm like, how they did this?
Yeah,
because back in the day,
we're not trying to take the food off the table of muralists. We're just, if somebody wants to do hand painting, have at it. We just want to, what our goal is to take an image, whether you take an image of your dog or your family and want to put that on the wall in your den, or if you want a sports team logo in your office or your garage, or you want a huge mural. We want the graphics artist, the painter, the muralist to do what they do best, create the art. And then our machines will quickly and reliably reproduce that onto any wall, any size. Now there are things that our wall printer won't do. We don't, because it's a machine, it won't go edge to edge and floor to ceiling. It needs some room indoors before it hits some kind of an obstruction. So sometimes we'll do a wall print like you see here behind me, and then an artist will come in and fill in all the rest of it with something else. Otherwise, it can just stand on its own, like the image you see here.
Yes, I do understand, and still amazing. But I was about to ask you is this machine, because I'm here and I was saying that I just saw at the streets someone was paint. I'm not sure if they were painting because I didn't really saw them, or if it was a printing a huge, because I don't have idea what is the size of the printing machine. But and you just mentioned that you go to a indoors, so that means that your machine is portable.
Yes, it goes on wheels, it goes on tracks, it can go indoors, outdoors. It can propel itself on wheels and paint the image if you have a nice flat floor. If you're outdoors on grass or pebbles or sidewalk, that's a rough surface. Then you use tracks, which are included, which provide stability and leveling, so the picture still looks beautiful. And I will tell you, when you say you're in another part of the world, we have now today about, I'd say 150 distributors outside of the United States that operate in various countries. I personally own the Western Hemisphere. So my office in Wilmington, North Carolina in the United States services Canada, the United States, Mexico, the Caribbean, South America. That's our market. And we service all of that from ours. But there are other distributors. And it's the world of the internet. So I get inquiries all the time for people in Hungary, in Japan, in Australia, in France, Germany. And I send that to those distributors. And they get inquiries for the United States or Canada or Mexico or Colombia, and they send those to me to service. It's a very cooperative community.
That's really good. You had a great idea, Paul.
Well, my idea has always been the same. I want other people to be successful, because if they're successful, then I'm successful. And it's always worked out that way. Sometimes I'm not going to say that my life and career path was a trajectory. It's had its hills, it's had its valleys. It's had its points that you have to pivot. But I've been very blessed with having good people around me that have supported me, that have worked with me, or I've worked for, and I've learned, and this is what I'm doing today.
Yes, really good. And do you have any experiences, anything that you could share with us, like a challenge that you faced while you growing the wall printer?
Well, I wasn't the smartest kid on the block, according to my wife, when I founded this company in December of 2019, and then in January of 2020, I found myself with a significant six-figure investment in a product that nobody has ever seen or heard about. And so, and the world stopped with COVID. So businesses were being closed, people were being laid off. But while all that was going on in the world in 2020, I started hiring people because I said, this is going to end sometime, and let's let people know what this is all about. So we started Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and building up the team to support the customers. Hopefully that would come eventually. And we built up the company. And so that was the biggest challenge at the very beginning. But then it turned out to actually be a very big positive, because people were rethinking their lives. People were being laid off or working remotely, and they said to themselves and their families, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I want to have my own business. Maybe I want to take control of my life and my financial future. And so let me look around and see what's out there. And then they saw a video of a machine printing a beautiful piece of art, and they said, let me learn more about that. And there we were. Wow. And we started selling mostly on the East Coast, which is near where we are in the United States, because people could travel to us in about August of 2020. It took us 8 months to sell our first customer. And now, as I said before, we have 120. So we're selling about 1 to 2 new territories every week now.
That's amazing. And I know you've been saying a lot of good things that happened to your business, etc. And also when the lockdowns pandemic came up, completely changed. But when exactly what or was the biggest achievement so far?
Well, with this business, it's the fact that it actually worked. The biggest achievement. I mean, this was just an idea of a product that I found fascinating, in a technology. I didn't know if anybody's going to want it or anything else, but I believed in it, and I believed in the team that I assembled. And so while that was a challenge, it was also the biggest achievement. I have a wonderful team of about 12 people right now, that between the support and marketing and sales, and we are getting the customers.
You're doing well.
And we're doing well. We are.
Yeah.
And our customers, more important, our customers are doing well. And they're making money in their communities, and they're building a future for themselves, and they're delivering beautiful wall art like this onto schools and medical offices and people's homes and restaurants. There's no limit, because wherever there's a wall, you can put art.
I just think about my wall right now. I'm looking. I wish I can have my picture.
Yeah, you can. We have the technology.
And because, like I said the other day, when I saw that guys there outside in the wall painting, another guy podcast, a group of guys from my area said, I went to them, Paul, and I said, how do you do this? Because I do want my podcast as well outdoors in the wall. Can you imagine? Entrepreneur Talks podcast there, bang.
Yeah, it's a beautiful profession, and again, this could be that what they were doing. But even if not, we have plenty of instances where artists and the wall printer have worked together to create the beautiful final product. But ultimately, somebody has to create the image first, even if it's a sign and text or a restaurant's menu that they want to put on a wall. It all has to start with some type of graphics work.
And depending on the industry, it is a powerful way to send the message.
Well, yeah, this is art is also signage. and advertising and
Yeah.
marketing. The machine does not have to be used just for artwork and photographs. You could actually create a sign, and you don't have to print directly to walls. You could print on a vinyl banner. You could print on a piece of foam board or stainless steel or wood, and then put that up onto a wall. So you could print something in your factory and warehouse, and then go ahead and bring that to the place where you're going to install it.
To the place you want. Yeah, right. Okie dokie. Thank you so much, Paul. Once again, we're gonna go now. But before we leave, I want to ask, how can people connect with you? How they can find you online, where, and on social media as well.
So I appreciate you asking me about my current business. I don't really want to make these conversations a pitch for wall printing, as opposed to for just follow your dreams and just find something that you can be passionate about, and that is a solution to a problem. Don't start any business or get involved in a product that doesn't solve some real problem out there. For me, I thought that there was a gap in the market for ways to put art on walls. But at the same time, if your audience does want to get a hold of me for the wall printer and information about this business, just go to thewallprinter.com, our website, and you could learn about it or fill out a contact form, and we'll have a conversation with you. If your audience wants to talk with me or connect with me, I'm always happy to build my network and the network of others. Just go to LinkedIn. It's not an advertisement for LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is a good professional network. I have no vested interest in LinkedIn, but it is a nice way for people to connect with like-minded people or to learn what other people are doing. And I'm always happy to connect and have a conversation.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Paul. So everything you just mentioned as well, I just want to make sure you listen, that everything is on the description of the podcast. Anyone that is listening now, you can click, read the description, and get Paul Barron all the details. So you can check his website, or you can get into LinkedIn and connect with this amazing gentleman that gave us the opportunity to get to know about this product. Because, Paul, I never heard about this machine before, ever.
That makes two of us if I go back 5 years. Thank you very much, Yola. It was a pleasure talking with you. I appreciate what you're doing for people, and for women in particular.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Paul. And I wish you all the best, and I'm sure we're going to keep in touch. And yes, and I see you again soon. Take care.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Talks is a podcast that covers conversations with startups, founders, innovators, and thought leaders from around the world who are disrupting the status quo, expanding their businesses, and bringing innovative ideas. Yola's conversational tone is focused on the top questions about journeys and details, the ways of thinking and acting that have led these entrepreneurs to success. Entrepreneurship, leadership, mental health, funding, finances, and other issues are covered on our podcast. Subscribe now to our podcast by joining us on Spotify. You can write on your web right now, www.anchor.fm/entrepreneurtalks/subscribe. Join our podcast and enjoy this powerful conversation.